Okay, let's see the practical on three type of relationship: one to one, one to many, and many to many relationship. Okay, we'll see the first one to one relationship. To create a one to one relationship, uh, you need two tables. First table employee and second table payroll. So creating table, you have to go to the table and click on create table in design view. Once you click on the create table in design view, uh, you have to enter the field names here: employee name, employee id, first name, last name, payroll id. Like this first table you created, then close this one, and then you will get like these tables: first name, last name, employee id, and payroll id. Okay, once you have done these tables, okay, I'll show you how to create it. I'm deleting this table. Okay, let's create a first table that is called employee. So first name, employee id, you'll get your number, then first name, then last name, then pay id. Okay, pay id, here number you have to take. Okay, once you finish this, then set the primary key. The primary key you can set for here this employee. No, primary key you need for the pay id. So right click and click on pay id and close this one and say yes. Okay, and give the name to the table employee. Once you given name to the employee, click OK. Okay, this employee table is open, and see here you can enter the data. So now pay id, for example 1, last name, suppose you have written Parab, first name Gopal, employee id 101. Okay, this is the first table. Close this one, say yes to save. This table is saved with the record. Now another table you have to create, that is payroll. So I already created here payroll. Pay id I can type here 1, hour rate, hourly rate 3, and close this. So you can save this data. So there are two tables now, employee and pay rate. Now we are going to create a relationship. Once we create a relationship, the data can go to the both the tables. Okay, now to create a relationship, first you have to go to the tools menu, then click on the relationship. Here you have to click on relationship. Then in the relationship you can add tables. To add the tables, you have to click on add table. Add table dialog box will appear. Here first you have to click on the first employee tables, double click or click on add button, then click on the next table payroll, and then click on add tables. Okay, then close this window. Once you close this window, you will find here two tables already added. Now we are going to create a relationship. How we can create a relationship? As you know that in table employee and the table payroll, there should be one common field, and in both the table we are going to find first one common field. Now see, employee id not here in the payroll, first name is not there in the payroll table, last name also not there in the payroll table, but the pay id is there in both the table. So pay id is the common field, and this common field we are going to drag on the other table. So here primary key is there and here primary key is there. So drag this payment id field on the another table payment id to create a relationship. Once you drag, then you will see the line between this table. The line between these tables means the primary key and the foreign key, these already joined, means a line connecting two tables will be displayed. This is called a relationship. The line connecting two table will be displayed, and this is called a relationship. Okay, to delete this relationship, we can right click on that and you can click on delete. The relationship will delete it. To set some more setting about the relationship, right click and click on edit. Then you will get like this window. In this window you can set various update and delete option for the relationship. Update and delete option for the relationship. Click on OK button. So now these both the tables are joined to each other with the field name pay id. Okay, so this is called one-to-one relationship. This is called one-to-one relationship. You want to save this relationship, click on save and then click on close. So this first we have learned, that is one to one relationship. Now we are going to learn one to many relationship. One to many relationship is the most common relationship, and in this type of relationship, a row in a table can have one or many matching row in other table. For example, in this type of relationship, a row in a table A can have one or many matching row in a table B, but a row in a table B can have only one matching row in a table A. So this is called one to many relationship. Can also be called as many to one relationship. Now we are going to create two table, customer and the order. So create a first table, customer. In this we are going to use customer ID field, customer ID, customer name, city, mobile. Customer ID, customer name, city, mobile. Okay, here should require one common field, so we can keep the customer ID common field. So we are going to set a primary key. To set the primary key, right click on this row and click on primary key. So the primary key is set to this customer ID, but customer ID means numeric fields required. Okay, then save this table and give the name customer ID, customer. Customer you can give, click OK. Now this table is saved. Now one more table we are going to create, and that is order table. So in order table we need two field, order ID, order ID number, and customer ID, customer ID, here also number. Okay, CUS ID. Okay, now here customer ID we have to set the primary key. So right click on this field and click on primary key. So here primary key is set. Now save this table and give the name order. Okay, and click OK button. So now we have created customer and order. Now close this table. Now you got to see customer and order table, employee and payroll. Before only we had seen in one to one relationship. Now one to many relationship we are going to use the customer and order. Now we are going to create a relationship. In this now in example, order relation is the many and the customer relation is the one. So each order can only be assigned one customer, whereas the one customer can be assigned to many order. Now open this, go to the tools and click on the relationship. In this relationship, first this relationship you are going to delete. So delete this, so you can delete this table. So delete this table, you can delete it. Once you delete it, now you are going to add the new table. So here which table you want? Customer. So select the customer table, click on add. Then second table we need order. So select and click on add. Close it. Now see there are two tables now, customer and order. In this, which is the common field is there? Customer ID. So you are going to drag the customer ID field on the another table, that is called customer table. From order table to customer table you are going to drag the common field, which we have set the primary key, which we have said here primary key. Look here, primary key is there. That field you are going to drag onto the another field, so you can set the relationship. Now I am going to drag the customer ID field on the customer ID in the customer table. So see here I have created the relationship. Now these two table is joined, so they can share the data from each other. Means this data can go to in this table, or this table data can go here. Because of the customer ID there is a common field. Now this is called the relationship. So this is the relationship called as the one to many or many to one. Now we are going to see one more example, that is called many to many relationship. As you know, in a many to many relationship, a row in a table first, or the A table, we can example A table can have many matching row in a table B, and vice versa. A many to many relationship could be thought of two one-to-many relationship linked by an intermediary table, and the intermediary table is typically referred to as a junction table, as already we have learned, and this table we use to link the other two tables together. So for this we are going to create three table for the list of books and the list of author. The first table we are going to create a author, second table we are going to create a book, and third table we are going to create a book detail. So let's start. Before we go to creating the table, we are going to delete this relationship. To delete this relationship, right click on this middle line, which is called joining line, and click on delete. So you can delete the relationship. Once you delete the relationship, again both the table will be separate, so you can easily delete this table. So delete this table from the relationship, and now you can go back and create another relationship now, that is called many to many relationship. To create a many to many relationship, you need three more tables. So we are going to create three more tables. That is called, first table is author table. So here author ID we need, author ID, field type number, then first name, then the last name, then birth date. So here you can use the date. Okay, so once you have inserted field and its data type, you can set the primary key. Now we are going to set the primary key to the field author ID. So click on this author ID, right click on it and click on primary key. So this author ID is set for the primary key. Now we are going to create save this table and give the name author. Click OK. So this table is saved. Now create one more table now, that is book table. In this table, book ID, data type number, then author ID required to join both this table. So here also number. Now save this and give the name book and click OK button. Now this, before saving we have to create a primary key. So creating primary key, we are going to right click on this and set a primary key, and then click on the save and give the name book and click OK. So you can save this table. Now this table also we saved. Now author is over, book is over. One more table we need, that is called book detail. So create one more table and insert the field first book ID, then data type number, then book name, text, and publish date, data type. So these are the field name we enter in the book detail. Now we are going to set the primary key. The primary key we are going to set here, we have to keep in mind the second table and the third table. The second table having the book ID primary key. So we are going to click on the book ID and click on primary key. So here book ID is set. Now suppose you have clicked on wrong, then you are not able to create a relationship. The same field, which is the common field, is there in the both the table, that we are going to use for the primary key and the foreign key. Now click on save and save the table with the name book detail. Click OK. Okay, once you click on this, close this. Now you will get all these tables. Now see, author table is there, book table is there, and book detail is there. All these three tables we are going to use to create a relationship. Now let's start to create a relationship. Click on tools, means go to the tools menu, click on relationship, and then click on each table which you are going to add for the relationship. Now first table you are going to add, that is called author, and click on add. Second table you are going to use for the relation, that is called book, so click on book and click on add. And the third you are going to use, that is book detail, so click on book detail and click on add, and then finally close the window. Now there are these three different tables are there. Now we are going to create a relationship between these three tables. We are going to join all these three tables so they can share the data between them. Okay, so now you are going to find out first the matching field from each table. Now first table matching field is there in the second table, author ID, so this is called the common field, and if you got a common field, drag on this to the another common field so you can create a relationship. Now the first author and book table is related. Now we are going to see in the book and book detail. In the book and book detail, what is the matching field? Book ID, so this you can drag onto the book ID. Okay, now see the book ID and the book ID. Now the first table is related to the second table, second table is related with the third table, means all these three tables having the relationship. Now all these three tables are joined to each other to share the information. So this is called many to many relationship, many to many relationship. So here we have learned the example of list of books and the list of author. So each book have one or more author, and each author may have written multiple books. So in this case you have many book related to many author. So here book, book detail and the author. So we have created a first relationship with the author and book table, and the second relationship we have created book and the book detail. So now all these tables are related to each other so they can share the information between them. So I hope you understood this practical of three different type of relationship: how to create one-to-one relationship, how to create one-to-many relationship, and how to create many-to-many relationship. To create one-to-one relationship, one matching field required in both the table. In the second, one-to-many relationship also require one common field to create, and the many-to-many relationship, all these three tables require one common field to create a relationship. Thank you.